Dr. Clendenning, what's happening? We are back on Total Disruption. What's going on?
The Michael Labersi. Hey, you guys notice I'm wearing headphones today, and I never wear headphones, but you should really try out our demo on the headphones. Like it's got a lot more bass than I'm used to hearing out of my regular stereo speakers. I was like, that's really good.
It
So
is good. I saw you
I was,
jamming out
I
over
was
there.
very distracted.
Yeah, man, I saw it. I was like, man, this guy's rocking out over there. Like you're in your own like recording studio.
It was great.
Why are you wearing headphones, by the way?
Well, so we're in the middle of a move.
Uh,
So we're moving across the country again because it's kind of like an every 3 year hobby that we have is sell what we built and build something new. So we're in the process of a move, which means my entire universe is disrupted, and I'm in the whole house. Like you can see, I'm in the corner of the dining room because my entire computer setup sitting on the only flat surface left in the house currently as we get ready to move. And as a result of that, you've got a bunch of echo, you've got, hollow because we picked up the rugs and we put the art away and all the stuff's gone. So like it's a big hollow sound. So I'm wearing headphones today and you can see the reflection coming off the dining room table. Just simply because we want better audio quality. We do
dare
what
I
we have
say
to do.
it's a better setup than I'm used to seeing you with. I think you should go with that.
I'm listening to the
You're
sound. Just the
uplit.
intro was awesome.
Yeah, you're uplit and your background's great. I mean, I think you're onto something.
Yeah, I'm getting blinding reflection off of the sun and the dining table. It's beautiful today.
That's awesome. So I got a doozy of a topic for you, man. It's meant to be. It sounds cryptic as hell, but it's meant to be.
Yeah.
It's meant to be a real appreciation play and not even a woo woo play. So the theme I've got in my head is, what if your best days are behind you and you didn't even know it? Meaning, what if you took for granted your health, your wealth, your status, your family, your timing, your life? What if you just been taking all that for granted and you don't even realize how great you have things? You don't even realize the flow state you're in. You don't even realize that trip you took last year was the best thing ever, right? Because then you don't know where you're going to find yourself in 6 to 8 months. So the play here is how to sort of appreciate what you've done, appreciate the fact that you really could right now be living your best moment and you don't even know it. What do you think about when I say that?
Well, the answer to that is yes. That's the really resounding easy moment. Like if we're going to go down the road of you should absolutely be thinking of it that way. Absolutely. I mean, that's the axiom of being present is you should be thinking about I am living my best moments right now in this moment, no matter what I'm doing. And to set the stage a little bit, like from the Mike saying it's cryptic a little bit, is he doesn't sound like, but Mike got COVID. It's still a thing. Like somehow it's still a thing. I thought we got past it years ago. Everybody got their little shot and we all got past it, but it's still a thing that pops up. So like anytime some critical thing happens in your universe and makes you question your mortality in any aspect whatsoever, you're going to have these questions, and you should be asking them. You absolutely should be asking them of what should I be doing right now to live my best life in every Mike was using the phrase of maybe you're taking your job for granted, maybe you're taking your health for granted. We have all done that. Every single person has done that. If you get on here and you say, "No, I don't ever do that," you're full of it.
You're full of it.
It absolutely is true because I look back at I'll give you an example. I love onion rings. I love onion rings. A good deep fried onion ring. They are fantastic.
Yeah.
I grew up with them. They were like just a decadent flavor. I cannot eat them
You
anymore.
grew up with onion rings? Like what? Like
Oh,
they were your
I was
pets? Neighbors?
Yeah, just about. Yeah, I mean that was just about. If any time we had the privilege of going out to eat, ordered onion rings. I don't care where I was, ordered onion rings. One of my favorite things I could eat. I'd get the terrible, greasy, little gnarly Burger King onion rings. I used to love those things. But I cannot eat them anymore. I took for granted, and I use it like my system just absolutely just says no to onion rings anymore. I would love to go eat onion rings. I would love to. We've got a great place here called Sanford's in Wyoming that makes hand cut, hand dipped. They're super awesome. Oh my God, I'll feel bad for days if I try to eat those things. So, yes, I did. I took for granted in the moment that this is a thing that I love and I can just always do it. Um, what would I have to do to eat them now? I don't know. I don't know that there's even a thing that could be done in my world to adjust my digestive system in such a way that I would feel good, that I wouldn't be sluggish, wouldn't be bloated, wouldn't, but maybe I did. Maybe I felt that way when I was a kid, but I was just too dumb to notice it. And
Right.
for granted, I mean, and that may seem like a really kind of a silly way to say that, but
Hmm.
we look at the little tiny things. I'll give you another example of this one. So my wife does physical therapy, and when we lived in Alaska, there was a time that when she was working in the hospital in Alaska, people would come in, they'd be hurt, and they couldn't go home. They couldn't go home because their house had stairs. They were not allowed to go home because their house had stairs. So simply taking for granted that, yeah, my house has got stairs and I do all those things. Well, what if you hurt yourself? What if, and it does happen, right? What if you hurt yourself and all of a sudden this thing that doesn't allow you to go home is stairs? So in our every house that we have built or bought or done since that time, a rule we have put into place is that you have to be able to have all main floor living. And you've got to be able to go home. If something happens, and the joke for the longest time, my wife used me as the example, was when you get hurt, and she always pointed at me, when you get hurt, you have to be able to come home. Like it felt a little threatening, but I understand where she was going with it. But like, what are we taking for granted every day? Because we do. Mike's right. And I wouldn't say it's a little harsh to say, what if your best days are behind you? But my onion ring days are behind me. They're plain and simple. They're just not behind. They're there. So like, give me an example, man. What in your world has changed that maybe you had previously taken for granted yourself?
Well, I think it was like New Year's, for example, right? Like, two of my kids, went out, and I mean, they're teenagers. They're not out. They got rides, and you don't realize, like, wow, they're young teenagers, right? They're like 15 and below, and it's like, geez, where are my kids? Right? Not even ringing in the new year. I'm ringing in the new year with them text message. Granted, I saw one of them later that night, but still didn't see the other one until the next day. But no, actually, I didn't see both of them until the next day. It was crazy. It's kind of like, where did time go? What happened? And as you age, right? I can remember when I used to like service clients a lot, and I was in an amazing flow state, and I have gotten such an appreciation for a flow state. And let me just qualify this, for example. Flow state, you're in the woods hunting, things are grooving, nothing's going on, there's no chaos, you're in there, you got your bow, you got your gun, you got your prey, they're rolling around, you're in there, you're living the moment, you're totally present. That is a flow state. I could be servicing 10 clients in a day, and I'm in a flow state of assisting people, helping people, responding to their needs, coming up with solutions, hearing them, and almost channeling energy. Flow state. One more example: you're on vacation with your family, and it's a perfectly sunny day. You're out there, there's a beach, or there's some mountains, or there's some sand, and you're doing things that everybody's just experiencing, living, and relaxing. That's a flow state. So flow state doesn't have to necessarily be this clairvoyant, productive period. It's now what I kind of live for, whether I'm high energy or low energy. And it's I took all that shit for granted for so long, those flow states. And when you can ring it out at the end of the day, and this from all the voluntary manual labor you do to improve your ranch, and all the things that people, our listening audience, is doing to improve their lives, whether it could be a workout, you take it for granted, and you get mad when it's not there, or you don't even appreciate it when it is. You kind of get this glaze to where you almost think, maybe I need euphoria, a high and a low. And it's not, doesn't exist, right? Like, it's all about how to create that state and not take it for granted when it's there. And they say each day is a blessing, but it's true. And that brought me to a lot of perspective. Like when you see pictures of yourself in peak physical shape when you're 20 years younger, or you see pictures of your children or your family or your parents that have passed, or certain things in your life or good times with your friends, it's a flow state, right? It's a state of mind that you were in at the time where everything was just working and grooving. And you may or may not have lived it. I mean, there's just a lot of things you start to, especially as the years roll on, there's a lot of things that you start to take for granted. And especially when you get into a low energy period, because everybody gets those low energy periods, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you say?
Oh, 100%. You're going to do it. Whether that's going to be from you just need a recharge because your system is just overwhelmed, low energy, go back to COVID again, right? Like if you catch a bug, you're going to have low energy. It's going to happen. You're going to show up differently than you would have if you didn't have that thing. If you ate an entire pizza all by yourself, I guarantee, like, you're going to feel unwell, plain and simple. It sounds
Basket of onion rings.
fantastic. Basket of onion rings. I'm going to feel unwell. If I would have stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning on New Year's and still got up at 5 o'clock in the morning the next day, I would have felt unwell. Like, you're going to have low energy things. I mean, every day we do something that is going to draw on our energy. When we get up in the morning, as soon as you open your eyes, that's the most energy you're going to have for the day. That's it. Your tank is full right there. What are you doing with
Agreed.
it the rest of the day? How are you managing? How are you checking your gas mileage throughout the day? How are you coasting? How are you in those flow states and just letting it ride? Or are you just high function till you crash? You have to think from a gas in the tank energy management standpoint.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about a skill. I want to talk about the skill of temporary disassociation, and a lot of times I know that executives can probably do this, and it's paramount if you're a manual labor slash service provider. Disassociation is so huge. This critical skill.
Mm-hmm.
So let me frame it up for you. When I was a young man, I was, I'm still am, obviously. I just have better, we're always the same. We just have better control. We have mastery, assuming we give a shit, or we're just more dysfunctional, depending on, depending on who we are, right? Well, I used to train clients and do some muscle activation with clients. And I used to, just my mindset is meet people, work, sun up, sun down, right? Just go, 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 right? This is the deal. Throughout the day and throughout the course of the week, you may get bad medical news. You might get a thing where your fucking car breaks. You get into an accident. You get something happening where you get this crash, and you need to be able to immediately, like, I can remember a clear time. I don't know if you remember the spy, Robert Hansen.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that guy? Sold stuff to the
Mm-hmm.
FBI. Dude, his kid is going to high school in the morning, and I'm coming from a light making a left. Major intersection, massively big, maybe not a busy intersection. At the time, it was busy, but physically a massive intersection. So for him to blow this light and hit me and flip his car over mine and roll, I was making a left, and I saw my life ending. He, in the last second, turned and hit my car and flipped. Well, I got out of mine, ran, pulled him out of the car, pulled his friends out of the car. It was this crazy scene. I ended up going to the hospital via ambulance. On my cell phone, I'm calculating how many appointments I need to cancel that day and when I can get back into sessions. I'm like diseased in my mind. I'm thinking to myself, all right, if I get at 7 a.m., I could probably get out of the ER by 12, maybe, because I'm going in via ambulance. And I'm going to try to make my 1, my 2, my 3, my 4. So I start canceling people and texting and hedging my bets. And, it's this crazy disassociation. Temporarily, even if you're in a session and you get some weird news on a text message, you got to disassociate from that. Not everything requires an immediate response, right? So when I say disassociation, I give you these examples where there's this layer of, all right, I'm dealing with a problem. I'm already in a situation. I need to be able to step back from the situation, not let these emotions overtake me. What do you think? Where's your head when I say that?
Easier said than done for most people because we're an emotional animal.
It's a
Plain and
practice,
simple.
dude. It's a
It is an
practice.
absolute practice thing. You cannot, you cannot assume. We were talking about FBI earlier. The FBI in training has done research, and I don't know how the research works, but I can tell you what the results are. You are 25% in a situation, 25% as good as you were in practice. So if you never practice, you are going to suck at this when it hits the fan, right? You're just going to suck at this. So you've got to practice it. I practice it I actually practice disassociation in meditation when I do it. And for the intention of that I will be able to do it under pressure when I have to do it. But you got to practice it on little stuff. You can't just wait for the big stuff to show up. You have to practice how to do it. And like Mike said, it's stepping back. You have to step back. And one of the things I'll tell you, you guys hear me reference this book all the time. It's called The Prosperous Coach, and Rich Litvin wrote, and his partner wrote this book. Something that really struck home with me in this one is the reference to it's not about you. Now, this is where I'll show you, like I want to give you the example, right?
Okay.
I can't show you if you're listening to it, obviously. Give you the example of how you practice this.
Really? You can't transform
right?
it?
I just can't. I'm not that cool. I wish I was. So the example would be Mike and I get in a car wreck, right? We just slam into each other, head-on collision, and Mike is stuck in the car. Okay, Mike is stuck in the car, and I would go over to Mike and I would ask Mike the question, what can I do for you? Now that comes from a servant's heart. I want to be clear about that. However, you're not disassociated at this point. You are still making it about you. You have to change the way you ask the question. Mike, what do you need? Your brain is going to have to answer that question differently than it would have. If I said, Mike, what can I do for you? I'm trying to unpack. Do I need to cut the door open? Do I need to push the lock, break the window, cut the seatbelt? What do I need to do? And it might be none of those things. Mike might want me to leave him the heck alone. Plain and simple. He might be just like, don't touch me. Don't touch anything. Wait for the paramedics to get here. Stand here. Make sure nobody else touches me. That might be his response versus I'm trying to unpack all these other things that Mike would want. So that's an example of disassociation, is change the way you ask the question. Not what can I do? It's what do they need? Because now you have to answer it differently. Now you have the ability to step back from the situation and assess it from a different perspective.
Right. And I agree with you on that disassociation piece. You do have to practice it, but you have to be careful not to get from disassociation to procrastination. You have to be careful not to alleviate so much, or you're so good at putting things off, or you're so good at removing yourself, you actually never come back to it. I will tell you that if you are a doom scroller, it is very hard to pull up from that. It's okay to doom scroll. I know. Everyone exists out there. Don't, do. Everyone's a grown ass person here. Like you can do whatever you want to do. If it's illegal or legal, you can do whatever you want to do. The consequences are the consequences. But as a human being, if literally you are doom scrolling, and again, if you're using that as a mechanism of escapism on purpose, fine. But you have to understand, it is really, really, really difficult to pull up from that and literally be engaged in anything else. Like, I did an experiment the other day where I was kind of laid up a little bit, and I just decided to start going down the rabbit hole of training videos. That led to cooking videos, and that led to some other stuff. And like an hour goes by. Then I go to try to conjure myself to doing something else. And that something else was so boring that I had no interest in doing it. I was like, oh my goodness. No wonder the dopamine hit from the scrolling. Like you get to where, like at one point I was like watching this dude who's awesome, by the way. He was a logger, this older guy. He's climbing up a tree and he's talking about axes and cutting and chopping trees. I'm fascinated by this guy, but I'm thinking to myself, hey, I'm watching a logging video. What's this? What the hell? Outside of pure entertainment, this guy's amazing. Great channel, great content. I forgot the guy's name. I'll remember from one other episode. I highly recommend people watch this dude. If you want to watch a master of his craft, he talks about his boots and the angle he's dropping trees. Dude's crazy. He's in Canada somewhere. It's amazing. Not applicable to my life.
In any aspect at all.
It was time for me to get the hell out of doom scrolling and time for me to get back to whatever it is I was doing. Now, you could qualify me and say, hey, you should be meditating, this, that, you should, walking, blah, blah, blah. At that point in time, people, friends, I didn't want to do any of that. All I wanted to do was be horizontal, be as low energy as possible, not sleep, be awake, and use barely any physical exertion, right? That's what I wanted to do. So I was in full control. I was in a flow state.
And the trick of that is to come back from it. And you're right. The dopamine hit is a major thing with that. And that's where, I wrote about this in my first book in Rings of Impact about.
I like that book, by the way. I read that book twice.
Yeah. There's some great stuff in there. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed writing that one, but I specifically talk about that social media detox, the screen detox that you've got to do. And I tell you what, if you will know if you have a problem, and I know I have a problem when I get to this point, is when I hide my phone, I lock it up, it goes away altogether. I will reach for it when it's not there. Like, right. And you'll reach for it. You'll reach for your pocket. You'll go hunting around on the countertop for it. It's amazing. That's how you know you've gone too far with it. Oh. And you need to be able to detox from it. And to Mike's point, are you going to use that as a coping mechanism sometimes? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. There's days, I've got, if I'm sick and I'm crashing in the chair and that's all I want to do is I want to be mindless, doom scrolling just because I don't want to think, I don't want to expel energy. It's fine. Use it for the temporary thing that needs to be used for. But at the same time, so if we think about this back to your best days are behind you kind of thing, we get back to that because we're a little bit off topic of that, but we're not at the same time.
No, we're right there, dude.
Because when you stop moving, if you're going to get stuck in doom scrolling and you stop moving, this is Newtonian physics. An object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest stays at rest. It is hard for you to get your butt out of the chair and move again. It is a challenge. You just know you have to do it. It is Newtonian physics. This is not old stuff. And from that regard are the best days behind you? We own a house with stairs, right? I can do main floor living, and that's true, but I make a point of walking up and down the stairs because I had a friend tell me once, just arbitrarily, he's not a physician or anything interesting. He just said, I've noticed if I quit walking up and down stairs, all of a sudden I can't walk up and down stairs anymore. So now he has put, think about that. It's that simple that if you're putting some of that stuff in there, so you just have to keep moving. You've got to keep doing the things in order, yes, does our life move on? Do our kids age? Do they move out? Do they do other things? We can look back and reminisce and say that was great, but you have to, in that moment, you have to also say, and here's what's great right now. And here's what's coming up that's going to be great. Because you can't just get stuck in the what was. We've got to be present and we've got to decide what's going forward.
Right. And when I talk about disassociation, I realize I tangented a little bit, but you can get locked in. By the way, when that kid hit me, I was busting his balls so bad in the ER. He was sitting there all bloody and his friends were kind of bloody. I was all banged up. And I'm like, and his dad was in federal custody, right? 2 weeks before. I said, I guess your dad's not coming to get you. I was totally pissed, man. I'm like, you realize how much money you cost me today? I'm like, you idiot. Blah, blah, blah. I was so mad. Oh my goodness. I was pissed. He ended up joining the Marines. So thank you for your service, kid. And, que sera, no love lost now. It was 30 years ago or whatever, but still not bad. Right. So to wrap this in a real constructive way with when it comes to your best days are behind you, the thing of disassociation, living for the moment, Living for the moment just means understand, man, like you really are alive now, and this is it. This is what you get, and what you've done, and you can plan and try to make choices. But when life starts to happen to you, right, you can plan all you want. That does not necessarily mean it will all happen. However, when life starts to happen to you, the skill of disassociation, the skill of living in the moment and being able to go, hey, let me take this 30,000-foot view. Let me pan back and in and out and in, all within the same minute. Sometimes it's going to be a masterful skill for someone to develop, to be able to keep perspective, trying to move forward through things, and then trying to appreciate literally the little and big things that are happening to them. Wouldn't you agree?
100%, man. Absolutely agree with you.
Well, dude, I think we're wrapping up to the end of our kind of disruption. Is there anything you want to bring up before we have to tap out here?
Like, subscribe, do the thing, guys. Go and download the episodes, share it with a friend. Make sure people know about it. If you like it, connect with us on social media. Let us know what you like. Let us know who you like. And just if you want to be a guest on here, reach out to DM Mike, DM me. We'll connect you. Make sure we can get you on here.
Amazing. All right. Well, I'm Mike Labersi, and for Dr. Jay Clendenning, thanks for tuning in to Total Disruption. Now it's your turn to disrupt.